aspects of aging. It's what most people really don't want to talk about. That projection, that imagination, that hypothetical, what about me at 91? Funny, because those same people, including myself, really hope to navigate the aspects of aging with some amount of grace or dignity, some amount of energy and fun and adventure, some amount of at least keeping my self image intact for the most part. So we don't really want to think about them, and we really want to know how we can handle them. So that's my job, and that's what I'm bringing you to. I wanted to make sure that I always start with the answer to the question of the last episode. So the answer is, well, you should probably know the question. The question was the 3 countries that do trick-or-treating and naming 7 different parts of Halloween traditions or activities, or what you expect when you see that in just a moment or in a photograph. You know it's Halloween. So the 3 countries are Ireland, Canada, and the US. And the traditions, oh my goodness, it used to be bobbing for apples, but that's just too full of germs. Definitely still carving jack-o'-lanterns out of usually pumpkins. Then there's, of course, candy. There's wearing costumes, often including disguising your face with a mask or some sort of, eye patch or makeup or something like that. It's usually kind of creepy, like haunted houses. You think of ghouls and goblins, whatever they are, and you think of ghosts and monsters and witches and broomsticks and black cats. You think of the colors orange, possibly green. I don't know. Is that Frankenstein? And what was the other one? Purple. I don't even get that one, but I guess orange is the one that I usually go to. And I'm just peeking to see if there's one more thing. Oh, of course, ringing doorbells, going house to house, maybe going to a party and everyone's dressed up as something that they have not been before, or they aren't usually. You're not supposed to just show up in your work clothes. That's not a costume. All righty. So our 3 aspects today begin with, well, speaking of, there's a place that you often think of when it comes to Halloween, and that would be, besides a haunted house, would probably be a cemetery. And so our first aspect is loss and grief. And this is a 2-parter. The first loss is either the death of someone who is significant in your life. There is a big part of who you are on a daily or at least an annual, your traditions, the people you go to see, someone who lives in your home, someone who interacts with you so regularly, someone you admire and you just enjoy their company, and they are gone. It could also include being given a terminal diagnosis, either for yourself or one of those people, a sibling, a child, a spouse, a partner. It could be someone who you just look to as your mentor, or maybe a surrogate parent. It could be your parent. It could be someone, even a pet, who just means everything to you, and it was so unexpected, or you've been expecting it for so long and finally it happens. So this loss and grief aspect, there's once on a show, someone said, I don't understand grief. it was science fiction and it was an android. I don't understand grief. Why does everyone keep asking, did you know them well? Were you close to them? How long did you know them? What are your memories? I wanted to know the significance of that. And it is true. I mean, did you know them for a long time? This is your baby sister or brother. Did you have a daily encounter with them that you're just so accustomed to? A neighbor across the street, you always said hi, and the next thing you know, the ambulance is driving away. Maybe it was someone that you considered a part of you, but you didn't realize it until they died. And so the loss and the grief go together because you know it's over with, but you also have this forward. Everywhere you look, there's a reminder. So what used to work for you, what used to energize you, that forward look is now you would rather not think, you would rather not see something that reminds you. Uh, the part that I want to address here is that grieving is something that most people expect, but boy, they come at it from different angles. They're uncomfortable with someone else grieving. They don't know if they are grieving right. And there are so many great resources for that whole process. And that is something that you can actually pre-act upon to understand yourself, how you already respond to loss now, whether it's a death or just other things that are disappointments that are ripped from you, that are destroyed in a moment, and to understand yourself and to look back on how you have grieved in the past. The next one, as I said, is part 2. So this is kind of a gone forever, and it's part of you. And I call it the missing piece, and you can spell it either way, both ways. The missing piece, like a puzzle, or the missing piece, the feeling of peace or serenity or acceptance, or I'm going to be okay in your life because something has been taken from you that maybe you have always had, and it is catastrophic. So this is your sight is gone or is about to be taken from you or is declining rapidly. It could be your hearing. It could be an amputation. It could be the ability to just hold on to things because you are experiencing chronic tremors or you have seizures that just come upon you unexpectedly. And this is going to continue for the rest of your life. This is not temporary. So that sort of loss and grieving, again, do you know about it ahead of time? Have you received a diagnosis or something that's kind of a shot over the bow for yourself? Maybe someone in your heritage has had that same thing and you're expecting to go into the same sort of loss that they did. Again, knowing what are your core values, what is important to you, how have you seen other people handle the loss of abilities, the loss of maybe their facial features have changed drastically because of a condition that is specific to aging? This is way more than wrinkles. But if that is traumatic for a person, if looking in the mirror is doing them in, there is professional help, there is counseling, there are a lot of things that you need to know about yourself ahead of time in order to navigate losses of this magnitude in your future. Just knowing how you would feel if you always had to be pushed around in a wheelchair, knowing how you would react to other people either trying to help you or trying to make you feel happy all the time or expecting you to just get over with it, get over it, and get on with your life? Is it really their call? The last one today is something that does not happen at any other stage of life. This is definitely something that people look forward to. They look forward to it when they come together as a couple. Who hasn't said, "This is the love of my life. I hope we grow old together." So, I guess maybe that's my expectation. There's probably some people who have come together with someone else hoping that it will be as temporary as possible. But this commitment has been made as a couple. And they're thinking about and then, and then, and then, and they've been collecting memories and curios and photographs and experiences. And maybe they've been collecting kids. And they've been um, doing things together with other couples. And they just hope that when they need to reduce their life um, experiences, that they can maybe keep pace with each other or help each other out on difficulties. So growing old together. So this is older care, not elder care, like one person of one demographic extending assistance to someone else. This is older care because we are both getting up there. So the thing I would like to point out here is symbiotic care and symbiotic self care. If you're tired of hearing that phrase, I'd like for you to think of it in terms of your whole life. Your whole life, you've been doing self care. You picked out that kind of toothbrush because you like it, or you want to give it a try, or it's your favorite color, or someone else recommended it for you. And you have done self-care when you turn on some music. You're not turning on music that you dislike, that brings you down, or that you just you're tired of it in half a song. You've been doing it your whole life. So why would you stop now? So symbiotic self-care is already getting into the habit as a couple to encourage the other person to go and play the piano when you just need to take a break from the cares of life. I don't have to do that with you. I don't have to be there next to you for that moment. It's okay. I'll be fine for a little while. I know we're both getting up there, but take that time, or go ahead and do that thing that you love and I don't, and just spend some time, filling up your soul, or um, be with someone that maybe I don't appreciate as much as you do. Just go ahead and take that time, do your habits, take a whole room of the house and do your hobby. And, don't worry about, will there be a place for guests to sleep or whatever. It's like that is feeding you. And right now, we're spending a lot of time kind of feeding each other, kind of making sure that the other one remembers and this one is not off balance. And did we, is it sour? Does it smell sour? Did we check, is that the right date? Should it be tossed out? We're spending so much time doing that. Go do something that is just what you did when you were a young adult. So that's symbiotic self-care as you're growing old together. So my question for this episode is, do you know your plans for internment? We're going back to the cemetery. So do you know what you absolutely are sure about? And do you know the details that maybe a funeral director would ask you? Now, I used to think there was only two kinds of internment, but turns out there's a lot of different nuances for those two, and there are new ways for your empty shell to come to its finality. There are more than I expected. So you can look into that. You can go online. You can ask somebody who's not in immediate bereavement, but maybe just ask someone who a year or two ago had to make those decisions for their loved one, and just ask them, what was offered. It might be nice for them to have someone listen to them talk about how hard it was or how easy it was because it was all planned out ahead of time, or what they didn't know about, and it brought kind of a warmth into their heart when it was offered by a professional. Would you like it to be this way? And so, that's just a question for you. Also, do you know those plans from a loved one? Maybe you guys have talked about it in just the last few months, exactly what they want or where it's written down, or who knows the details, what funeral home or what organization is going to take care of that. So that's your question for next time. I won't have your answer, but I hope you have your answer before you go to the next episode. I'd like to point out something that seems ridiculous. One of the journal prompts, number 5, is the non-issue scenario. Well, it's not worst case and it's not a better case scenario, but it is important to know. It's important for your relatives or your designated neutral professionals to know when some aspect of aging has kind of a heavy subject to it, a heavy thing to handle or to decide, and that you can let them know, oh, it wouldn't bother me either way. I mean, that's entirely up to you. Not, I don't want to think about it, but I have thought about it and I really don't have an opinion on that. It can go either way. Assisted living, stay at home, move in with you guys, whatever, that's fine. Whatever the situation is, whatever aspect you are dealing with ahead of time, let them know what wouldn't matter at all to you and empower them to make that decision. Next time, I will be talking about doing a 180 at 80 years old, and that's on your terms, your decision, a huge life change at that age. Then part 2, 180 at 80, but this has been decided by society. You just have to change the way that you are because society has changed maybe only in the last few years. And you're 80. Oh, you thought you had everything all ironed out by then. And the last one, everyone's favorite, car keys and driving are becoming an issue. Remember, this is you in your future. Oh, no. All righty. Well, I want to make sure that you know that the best time to pre-act your age is when your mind is clear, your emotions are calm, and your relationships are growing deeper. I say that a lot because I am the aging enthusiast.